Have you ever looked at something and thought, oh, that's kind of weird looking, only to realize later on that it's actually beautiful? Well, today we're going to be talking about a cat named Scrappy. And Scrappy was a cat that defied expectations and kind of taught the world that what makes you different can make you extraordinary. And I've got some fascinating articles and notes here about Scrappy's life, and I am so excited to dive in with you and see what we can uncover.
Well, I'm super interested to hear about this and how Scrappy's story kind of intersects with the science of vitiligo. It's a condition that affects melanin production.
Melanin. So that's what gives our skin, our hair, and eyes their color, right? So vitiligo affects melanin. That basically means that it changes pigmentation.
Exactly. And while we often associate vitiligo with humans, it can actually occur in animals too, although it's way more rare. In Scrappy's case, he started out as a completely black cat.
That's so interesting that, his owner, David, was drawn to the cat that was not playing with all the others. That guy says something about his personality, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. It was back in 1997, and David went to a shelter and saw a litter of kittens. And all the other kittens were, just being typical, playful bundles of fur, but Scrappy was off by himself, just kind of hanging out. And David saw something special in that solitary black kitten and chose him over his more conventionally cute siblings.
So this must have been a confusing time for David. What were some of the initial theories about Scrappy's changing fur?
Well, a few years after adopting Scrappy, David started noticing white patches that were appearing on his fur. And naturally, he was worried. He thought maybe it was a skin infection or, even something more serious. So he took Scrappy to the vet. But initially, even they were stumped. It was a real mystery at first.
Wow, imagine seeing your cat just change color like that. It must have been so fascinating and probably a little bit unnerving at the same time.
It was. And as time went on, these white patches just kind of kept spreading, almost like an artist was splattering white paint on a black canvas. Eventually, Scrappy transformed from a solid black cat into this incredible black and white marble pattern, and that's when another vet suggested that Scrappy might have vitiligo.
So it wasn't like a sudden thing. It was a very gradual process over time. That makes me wonder, was Scrappy aware of his changing appearance? And did it affect him at all?
That's a great question, and honestly, it's one that we can't definitively answer. But from all accounts, Scrappy seemed perfectly happy and healthy throughout his transformation. It's as if he embraced his changing appearance, and that confidence really resonated with people.
Before we get too far into that, let's take a quick pause and remind you, dear listeners, if you are enjoying this deep dive into this fascinating story, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. It helps us reach more people and share more stories like Scrappy's.
Now, you mentioned earlier that Scrappy's story reminded you of Winnie Harlow, the successful model who also has vitiligo. And it's a great comparison because both of them challenge conventional beauty standards.
Absolutely. Winnie Harlow's unique skin pigmentation made her stand out in the fashion world. And she's become an advocate for self-acceptance and embracing what makes you different. And in a way, Scrappy did the same thing just by being himself.
It's just fascinating how they both turned what some might perceive as a flaw into a source of strength and inspiration. It's a powerful message, especially in a world that often pressures us to conform to certain ideals.
Yeah, it's almost like they're saying, look, here's something different and it's beautiful. And I think that's such an empowering message for anyone who's ever felt self-conscious about something that makes them stand out.
Absolutely. It definitely makes us want to reconsider, our own perceptions of beauty and difference. What we might initially see as a flaw could actually be like a unique characteristic.
And it's not even just about physical appearance, right? This idea of embracing what makes you different applies to our personalities, our talents, and our experiences too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about all the amazing artists and musicians and thinkers throughout history who were considered eccentric or unconventional. Their unique perspectives and their ways of just being in the world are often what made their contributions so valuable.
That's a great point. Sometimes it's the people who don't fit in who end up changing the world.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that Scrappy became like an internet sensation. I'm curious, how did that happen?
Well, David started sharing pictures of Scrappy online, and people were just immediately captivated by his fur pattern. Like his Instagram account gained thousands of followers, and people from all over the world were drawn to his story.
I bet the comments on those photos would be so fascinating to analyze. Did people express admiration for his unique look?
They did. People were constantly commenting on how beautiful and unique Scrappy was. They saw him as this symbol of self-acceptance and a reminder that it's okay to be different.
I'm just struck by how Scrappy's story resonated with so many people. Why do you think that is?
I think on some level, we all relate to that feeling of wanting to be accepted for who we are. And, Scrappy's story gave people permission to embrace their own differences and see them as something positive.
It's like a reminder that our perceived flaws might actually be the things that make us special and memorable. Scrappy didn't set out to become an internet star. He just lived his life authentically, and that resonated with people worldwide.
Exactly. And that's such a powerful message in a world where we're so often bombarded with images of perfection and conformity. Scrappy just shows us that true beauty really lies in embracing our individuality.
So his story is a testament to the idea that what makes us different can also make us beautiful, inspiring, and even famous. Speaking of which, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating deep dives like this one.
Now, while Scrappy's story has a happy and heartwarming beginning, it does unfortunately have a bittersweet ending.
Oh, that's right. Scrappy passed away in 2017. How old was he?
He was 19, which is actually a pretty long life for a cat.
That's true. Even though his story ended, the message that he shared continues to live on. It's a message of self-acceptance, resilience, and finding beauty in unexpected places. It's amazing to think about how the legacy of just this one cat with this unique fur could have such a profound impact on people.
It really is. It speaks to the power of stories and how those stories can actually connect us across, species and even continents. Scrappy's story transcended the boundaries of language and culture, and it really touched people's hearts all over the world.
It reminds us that we're all connected in ways that we might not always realize. Right? A cat in one part of the world can inspire someone on the other side of the globe just by being authentically himself.
Yeah, and that's such a beautiful thing. Scrappy's story is truly a testament to the power of embracing our differences, both in ourselves and others. It reminds us that what sets us apart might actually be our superpower.
Oh, I love that. It's a Scrappy saying, hey, the things that make you different, those are the things that make you you. And that's definitely something to celebrate.
Exactly. And it's a message we all need to hear sometimes.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to others and feeling like we need to fit in. But Scrappy's story really teaches us that our differences are what make us special and that there's beauty in those differences.
So the next time you're feeling a little self-conscious about something that makes you different, think about Scrappy. Remember that cat who just rocked his unique fur pattern and inspired thousands of people to embrace their own individuality?
And remember that true beauty isn't about conforming to some arbitrary standard, right? It's about being comfortable in your own skin or fur or, whatever unique features make you, well, you.
That's such a great point to end on. And on that note, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on this deep dive into the extraordinary life of Scrappy the cat. We hope his story has inspired you to embrace your own unique qualities and to appreciate the beauty of difference in the world all around you.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed this episode, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating deep dives into topics that'll make you think, wonder, and maybe even change your perspective a little bit.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep celebrating the beauty of difference.